5, 4, 3.
Welcome, everyone, and pull up a seat at the table. It's lunchtime in Rome. Tonight's episode 265 is titled, Those Were the Days. What made those days those days? Is it just nostalgia, or could there have been something else? We'll be talking about that at the table this evening, so please pull up a seat and join us. First-time listeners can subscribe on your favorite podcast app or watch us live or later on YouTube at Lunchtime in Rome. Visit us at lunchtimeinrome.com, and while there, you can take our relational needs questionnaire. Make sure to follow us on all social media, and it would be great if you gave us a 5-star review. Jay, what specifically is this podcast about?
Being alone is the worst. Good times aren't as good, and bad times are worse when you're all alone. Romans 12:15 says to rejoice with those who rejoice and mourn with those who mourn. That is how you keep people from being alone, and what this podcast is all about. We demonstrate that in the first 15 minutes of the podcast, and we talk about it for the rest. So while it may not be 12:15 in Rome, we're treating it like it is lunchtime in Rome. Chris is back.
Guys, come on. I am back. Where was I gone last week?
We had Tyler and Kira.
Oh, that's
and
right.
You said,
I said, I'll be out.
I will sit out.
Yeah. How did that go? Was that a
Terrible.
nice visit?
Worst podcast ever.
They're nice. I wish I could have seen them again. I should have sat in the audience, literally sat on the couch.
What are the
or
odds of
something.
that happening?
I know. I was probably asleep by
Yeah.
now last week.
No, it was great. They were great.
Yeah.
So proud of them. If you haven't heard it yet, go back and listen to it. It's amazing when you just learn how to love somebody and you apply it. Your marriage starts off great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they seemed real healthy, real positive. It was real, because I hadn't seen them. I hadn't seen or talked to them probably
Since they were married.
before that,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah.
So
And they blessed Jan, because they're supposed to leave Saturday, and they're like, we're going to stay a few more days.
Oh,
I'm like,
nice.
oh, now you don't have to put flats in their tires.
Speaking of healthy marriages, man, my wife is sick.
Still,
Yeah, she's got...
allergies plus.
Yeah, it's this thing. I mean, I was telling you guys off, beforehand, but
Off before.
it's this thing she gets, and it's like you do when you get older, I guess. I don't know. Like her things get worse is what I'm saying. Or for her anyway, things just ramp up like from one year to the next. So now she's reached the point where her fall allergies, despite 3 or 4 different allergy pills, or not just pills, but sprays and medicines that she takes or rotates through, can't get out from under this. And it lasts for months. It's all of October. It probably will be all of November.
That's
And
brutal.
it is. And she I was telling you guys how she it's usually just okay, it's bad allergies. Well, this year it's a fever. For days and days. What is that? She goes to the doctor twice, and
Of course, the doctor said, here's exactly what it is.
You would like that to be what a doctor visit encompasses, what it is, but it's not. And no, it's not COVID. No, it's not the flu. No, it's not probably a virus. It's just allergies, but...
See, that's a new one. At church on Sunday, I was saying how I wish you could actually go to, again, it doesn't have to be a doctor, shaman, whatever, and they could actually tell you what's going on in your body.
Yeah.
And the person I said it to said, oh, yeah, for me, it's perimenopause.
yeah.
No matter what symptom I go to them with, oh, yeah, it's perimenopause. And then I was sharing that with somebody else, and that person went, no, it's overweight. Oh, why am I losing my hair? Oh, overweight. I'm not sleeping. Overweight. And so for Amy, it's allergies.
Yeah.
Is she sleeping?
I mean, except for the multiple times she wakes herself up coughing.
Yeah, see, that's brutal. That takes a
Allergies.
toll. That really takes a toll.
Perimenopause allergies.
Yeah.
She's
Overload
allergic to
being over-
perimenopause.
Yeah. Right?
See, we
Me
can be
too.
Doctors.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I hate
Yeah.
the added variability of the fever.
Yeah.
Because that's
it's weird.
I've never heard of allergies giving a fever.
Yeah, well, she headed back to the doctor yesterday, and I was like, okay, well, maybe the fever's because of a sinus infection, something that you didn't have the first time when she went a week ago. Now you have no sinus infection, or at least the doctor's like, well, no, I don't think so. It doesn't look bad.
I mean, it does make sense to some degree that a fever is a body's reaction saying, hey, something's wrong, so let's kill it. So maybe it's just we're fed up with these allergies, so
I guess.
let's fry it out of her.
So, yeah, they gave her some big girl medicine yesterday, and like hopefully that helps.
So she's missed all week of work.
Yeah. Yeah. She's kind of miserable. The good news is she was able to pull through for part of the day. We were at the Saturday. We went to the PA Run Fest. I think I mentioned that on the pod a couple weeks ago. Very exciting. Went with Ben and Claudia and spent the day.
Got all dressed up.
Oh yeah. Oh, we dress up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you do your kilt?
I celebrate that with you.
I did not do the kilt
Mock
this
you.
year.
You gotta
I
do the kilt
celebrate
with
it.
the Wookiee jacket.
The Wookiee jacket?
Yeah, that big furry jacket you got.
Sort of like
I don't know what it's called.
Cross nerd.
I'm not a nerd. Not that kind of nerd.
That would be funny. I did not because I wore my kilt to this one last
Yeah,
year.
you can't go back.
You can't
up
go.
every-
No, that's not. That's
Everyone
already
would
nerdy
remember.
outfit.
Everybody would
It would be
remember.
so
Loser!
embarrassing
That
if
is
somebody
not
recognized you and called you out.
Yep.
That's like showing up in the same getup as somebody else.
Avasky, loser.
That is hilarious. If that's
Be on a website.
if that was what I meant, it would be hilarious.
Sir Davidson
It's still
showed up in the
hilarious.
same outfit
Oh,
again.
No, what had actually happened was that I went last year in my kilt.
And it was too hot.
It was too cold. It was
cold.
freezing, and I'm like, I need some pants. I need something that's,
Yeah.
So I decided to go another route. Well, of course, it was really
Yeah.
nice. Probably the best day, most perfect day of the year. Honestly, it was like 70 degrees in the sun.
Kilt weather, they call it.
That's what I call it. But I didn't have my kilt. But we still had a good time. Amy sort of like cut out early. And that sucks because honestly, these are her, this like Renaissance festivals. That's her thing.
Yeah, it's
So
her
the-
jam,
like
yeah.
Like I go for a good time, but she like just
Well, it is funny.
Like
I mean,
you do.
I go for a good time.
you know
in your kilt.
But I mean, it's Amy's thing.
I should say I tag along and have a good time, but she like
Who's having a good
really,
time?
Yeah.
So she was pretty sad that she just couldn't hang for the day.
Did you drive
So-
separate, or did you guys leave early, or what?
No, she ended up, I mean, just sort of like sitting out. Like, and then we went to dinner later with Claudia's family, and she just didn't go at all. She's like,
bummer.
I can't. So she stayed back at the hotel, and yeah.
It's a tough draw.
Yeah, so I'm sorry for the downer,
That
but
is a downer.
Yeah,
Rejoice with those who rejoice, mourn with
mourn
those who
with
mourn.
those who mourn, and it sucks
Be down
That
with
does
those
suck.
who
because it's half of you. I
have
mean, the
down
two
news.
become one, so you're half sick.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that was like your first, or gonna be like first, like real sit down with Claudia's parents. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and she said because we met them briefly twice last year, I think, just sort of almost in passing, like for maybe a 5-minute conversation,
Like at a football game or
at a
whatever.
football game,
Yeah.
exactly. But when was that? Oh, it was last fall. Amy was coughing and feeling miserable, but she was there. But so she's like, man, every time I'm sick, every time they're gonna think this is me.
Yeah. That sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going through it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. My biggest project I'm working on at work is it's moving along, but it's like walking through mud. Trying to get it done. But there's been progress, which is good. I'm not going to say great.
It's at least not terrible.
It's not terrible, but
And life is rough when you're like, well, it wasn't terrible, so that's a good thing.
yeah, yeah. And Amy's been feeling it lately. We're coming up on the anniversary of her
Coming around the corner.
mom passing away
Oh
last
my
year.
gosh, I cannot believe it's been
December
that
8th.
long.
December 8th?
December 4th.
Oh, my bad.
So it's it's been tough. Yeah, it's been tough.
Yeah.
I got a headache today, which makes these headphones horrible.
Do you get headaches
No.
Well, yes,
today?
today.
Right, but you're not a headache guy.
Yeah.
I'm not
You're
a
like
headache
me.
guy.
When I
Like,
get a headache, I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
yeah,
I have a headache.
yeah,
And it
like,
would be like negative 400 on Lexus scale.
Yeah.
yeah, like
They're the worst.
It's just bothersome. It's just one more thing. It's just one more thing.
Well, and it's one of those things that affects everything entering your brain. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it's
Like
just
you
like
are
this- it's
everything
right
you
here.
see every time you move. Like everything's worse.
Could be allergies.
Premenopause.
better put on
Could
a
be
kilt.
premenopause.
Check with Amy. Yeah, Perry.
He can't be
pretty-
overweight. He's
pretty
losing
sure
weight.
now.
He's
He's
losing
losing
weight.
weight, right?
I am losing weight.
I
Looking
know.
good.
We see it.
Yeah. But
That's it.
that's kind of it.
Yeah.
You know,
So,
I'm trying to. Yeah. Maggie did have her first twirler performance, which was fun. Always fun to watch her do that, and
Nice.
she loves that. But we got trunk or treat coming up this weekend, which I'm excited about. We're gonna decorate a trunk. We're doing one, so
Yeah.
we'll be there.
Yeah, us too.
Nice.
It'll be great.
Yeah.
And we'll be there.
Cool. Brian.
What's that?
It's at a thing at church.
Where is it?
Church. Faith
When?
Community Church, 501 Jefferson Road, Saturday afternoon between 2 and 5.
Oh, I will be deep into preparing for something else.
Yes. Yeah, you should prepare for that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I don't like trunk or treat. I don't like the term.
No, it's played out, I guess.
It's
I don't
trunk
know.
and treat. Here's our trunk. Here's your treat.
Yeah.
Because trick
yeah.
or treat was give us a treat or
Or-
we're going
yeah.
to pull a trick on you.
Or
Yeah.
give us a treat, or we're
Put you in,
putting
the,
you in the
trunk.
trunk.
Yeah.
Like you do.
Right.
So we're not going to do that. I just want to clarify.
Soon to be sponsored by kidnapping.
Although we have like a police theme going on because Maggie's dressing up as a police officer.
Are you going to be like the perp?
to? I'm not dressing up. I don't. Dressing up isn't my thing. Like I'll do it, but like, I'm kind of like Jim from The Office.
Right.
Like I would
The
do
three-hole punch.
Yeah. Or if Amy really wanted me to dress up as something, I would do it. I just I don't know. That's it.
Cool. I am going to go the opposite direction, and I am going to share with you guys something pretty cool.
I thought when I heard something under the table,
The book.
it's the book.
There's
Look
the
at it.
first physical copy.
That's actually been my highlight of the
book.
week. Was I should have said that was getting the website refreshed for you and stuff for
Really?
the book. Oh,
Man, that means
dude.
the world to me.
Yeah, like I'm so glad like things got together really quickly, which it never does,
Yeah,
and I'm
it's-
glad it did.
So I had to order a couple physical copies just so that everything's good, everything's right.
book touch.
And it actually looks like a book.
It does. It feels like a book. Like it's got a nice feeling cover. Like it's smooth.
But Rachel and I opened it this afternoon, and I said to her, I said, well, honey, I said, how do you feel, as we were getting ready to open this? She's like, I don't know. She goes, what do you feel like? I went, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
There's words inside too.
Yeah, but
And pictures.
I was really, it was overwhelming.
Yeah, dude, this is such an accomplishment, man.
Yeah,
And
it is amazing.
Like the cover, I'm blown away by. Like I knew what it looked like, but just like looking at it, I'm like, that's a book.
Yeah,
like
it
it,
looks-
it
that's-
stands out.
Yeah.
It's almost like 3D the way the cover looks.
Yeah.
And it
it's
looks
got a
better
good-
in person than it does on screen.
See,
And
I
it looked
agree.
good on screen.
Yeah.
And it's even better. Yeah.
Got a good spine.
Good spine. Good
That's
spine.
industry talk there.
Yeah.
And flipping through it, I was worried about the other thing is like afterwards, Rachel said, "How are you?" And I said, "I'm relieved," because
Okay.
I was worried about the pictures because they're
Book Rachel, you're
my wife, Rachel.
Gotcha.
not Christian Editing and Design owner Rachel, not Christian Editing and Design marketing Rachel,
Right.
But Rachel, my wife.
There's 3 Rachels.
There are,
That's a lot.
but I was worried like the pictures, specifically the pictures, because they're from Facebook 15 years ago,
Right. The quality
And they
isn't-
do look a little grainy.
Sure.
but
You're talking
yet-
about on the cover?
No.
okay.
In the beginning of each chapter.
'Cause you're
Which
pulling from whatever you got.
Which also is very difficult. And we're going to have a podcast where we talk a lot about the books. I don't want to take up too much of everybody's time. But I stressed about the pictures for each chapter because, like, one is the ugly parts. And that is the grossest, worst chapter of the book. It's every heartbreaking moment put into one chapter.
Whoa.
Okay. Well, what picture do you pick for that? So I picked a picture of me holding Trey at Disney on our second trip next to a life-size Handy Manny, and Trey is screaming out of his mind, petrified. And from the side, you see Rachel's arm holding Taggy, trying to get him to
Trying to
stop.
get- yeah, yeah.
And I was like, I'm like, that's the perfect picture for the
Yeah.
ugly parts because it's supposed to be great and it's terrible. But I was really happy with how the pictures turned out and the ones that I picked and an equal number of Joe and Bella, and they're both highlighted. And I'm just relieved. I haven't obviously gone through it all, but I think all the pages are in order. So that's good. But it looks like a book, feels like a book. It's going to be a book.
Cool, man.
Serious congratulations.
So cool, dude.
Thank
Like,
you.
that's huge.
And Eric's has been helping out a lot with the whole marketing process from the website. And it's been fun having those worlds mesh between my marketing director and Eric. And everything else, and planning a book launch party and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just it's a lot of big news. It's exciting, and it's always been real, but that makes it real. And
Yeah.
I don't know what I
Yeah.
expected to feel opening it. Like I've seen other people do that, and you're kind of like, I've seen them put it on Facebook when they open it, and I'm like, no, I'm not publicizing that. I'm just
You're having the moment for yourself.
having a moment with my wife, and,
Yeah.
and like we do, we both went, all right, not really sure where to put all that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, that's cool. And you will be able to go to jmitlow.com and pre-order when time is right, but we'll be talking a lot more about that.
dadgum soon.
Yeah. Yep.
So
It's amazing to see that is a physical creation of, 4 years of your life, and summed up, I guess, is the best way to put it, into that physical creation. And then to know that, it's a culmination, but it's also a new chapter, a new beginning. And that's really cool. Holding that thing in your hand is such a representation. As I was holding it and flipping through it, it just really hit me, like how many things that physical book represents.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
wow, that was really loud. It is because it is. It's the past, but it's also it's the 4 years, but it's also the grieving process beyond that. But it's also attaching purpose and moving forward.
What's next?
Well,
And
not
what-
who knows what.
Right.
So, yep, there it is.
Well, congrats.
I can't wait to do a whole episode on that and
We'll be doing
dig into your
4
brain.
episodes.
Let's do 5.
Not in a row.
Brian, did you write a book?
I have written a book,
Actually, you are a writer too, but
yeah.
anyway, yeah.
The
but
attentive congregant. It's called.
yeah, that's it.
It's how to really be
How to
involved.
remember everybody's names.
Yep.
Let's worship
No,
this morning.
It's called the
That's
Human
what it's-
Code, but this is about my updates. I would say primarily about Ethan, but about our family.
Oh yeah.
He committed to RMU, Robert Morris University.
Yeah.
Colonials.
So I'm really excited about it for a lot of different reasons.
It's a great story.
One being it's pretty convenient for me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'll think of you every time I get past the 35-minute mark.
Yeah. So
Come on, guys.
yeah. So that was we went out on Saturday and did the campus tour and had their presentations and everything, and it just made a lot of sense for everybody.
Can I just ask, it was during / after the tour that he committed? Like he wanted to see it first, or was he already committed and then he's like, let's go see it?
Yeah, no, it was his second choice.
Okay.
So he'd already been to his first choice, which was out east towards Carlisle, Harrisburg area, out that way. He had been pretty set on that, but as soon as we got onto RMU campus, he was pretty much like, oh, all the things I liked about the other school, I like about this one, and it's a lot closer. And so, yeah, he made up his mind then and there.
It's cool going on the college tours. Like all we did with Bella was Allegheny and then Mercyhurst, and she loved Allegheny and was ready to go there. And when we went to Mercyhurst, I said, you're either going to feel like you're cheating on Allegheny or you'll feel like, oh, this is it, I'm home. And when we got to Mercyhurst, she was like, oh my gosh, I think I'm home.
Yeah, and that's what happened with E. All of us, really, though. It was, we got about midway through the day and we were eating lunch and just sitting there talking, and he was like, yeah, I really like this one. I said, well, look, do you like it on emotion, or do you have logical reasons? And then he reeled off all these logical reasons, which I thought was that was big. But it was also nice to see us be able to help him make a real life decision, and also to have Abby there watching all of this process taking place, gaining wisdom, gaining understanding so that she can be ready. So it was an unbelievably great day. It was just a beautiful Saturday for us to do that as a family. I just can't say enough about how great Saturday was. And then we got to celebrate a baptism. It was one of these days where you step back and go, man,
there's a lot of good in life.
The days in February when everything's going wrong and it's cold and miserable, you're like, where are these days? We were in the middle of that day, and it was really, really great to have that. So
That's beautiful.
yeah, I would say I have a bunch of stuff written down, but I'd say like that's good, and we can talk about the people sitting at the table.
We could. There's the transition,
Yeah.
bro, because you very easily could have said, we'll look back at these days and say those were the days. And I'll go, before we do that, though.
Yep.
But you let us right into it, and I took us away from it. We are so
Good
grateful for Groot, who's with us right now, the Hooked on Jesus podcast, Laurie Ann, Bethany Jaworski, Mary Lynn, Ashley, Breaking 90. My Hoosiers put a whooping on the Huskers. That's his team. So I guess we're even because Nebraska beat Pitt last year in volleyball. But at one point, he tweeted out, Breaking 90 did, I think I'm just going to go paint the mailbox.
That's such a sad, that's a defeated task.
He's got a brick mailbox too, so it makes no sense whatsoever. But they all sit at the head of the table, and they do that by going to lunchtimeinrome.com and becoming a paid subscriber. They sit at the head of the table, and we are grateful for that. You can join them there. It means the world to us to have the support. It also means the world to us when you reach out to us and when you comment and when you join us. And it's just we are very grateful for that. And no matter how many years we do this, which we're coming 2018
November
November
2018.
So we're coming up on 6.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah.
well,
all through COVID.
We're coming at 6.
Yeah.
Finishing our 5th. Starting our 6th year. Wow. We should have had a celebration of some sort.
It's not too late.
It's too late. But no matter when this ever ends, we're going to look back and say,
Can't believe we get to do this.
Were the days.
those were the days.
See?
And that's the topic for tonight. We have 2 purposes here this evening. We wanted to lift up those who commented and said, yeah, I remember. Those were the days. To join them in their nostalgia and their appreciation of the days, but also to sort of look at them and say, well, what is it about each one or collectively? Do we notice a pattern? What made those days?
Yeah.
Those were the days. And maybe to attach some emotional needs. But you guys, if you say those were the days, what would it be for you guys? Like for me, one of the first ones, so while you guys can think, is the Trey days. Like those were the days. And that doesn't necessarily mean bad, doesn't mean good. It was both. But man, those, we call them the Trey days. Like we were at war. Like everything was on and it was top notch and all that kind of stuff. For me, those were the days. Everything else is sort of like, oh, those were good. And those were good. And that was good and everything else. But like those, those were the days.
I would say for me would be around 99 through the early 2000s. Those were the days for me. There were so many things that happened spiritually. I kind of left the partying lifestyle and kind of got myself together, got a big boy job, finished school, and met Alexis, went on missions trips, and really formed my own relationship with God in a way that I had never had before, and saw miracles and wonders. And man, those were the days for me. They were a huge couple of years, and
that led right up to the Lex days, right? I'm sorry, I blanked there for a second. Like when did you and Lex meet?
We met in 2000.
Oh, so that's part of it.
Right in the middle of it. Yeah.
I like to say, like, it seems to me like you would almost describe those as like days of traction. Like you stop sliding and you're like, all right, let's go. And we're starting to build towards
That's a great way to put it. Absolutely.
A whole lot of traction in those days.
Traction and expanding of life's potential and reality, I think, because traction is a great way to put it. And it just like every single day, it was like new doors opened and life was mushroom clouding for me in really healthy and just unbelievable ways, and really watching God be God like I've never seen him before in my life. up to that point. Like I said, miracles, just amazing days for me. Those would be the days for me.
Yeah.
Sorry. Also, I will say too, the days now with watching my kids mature, like Abby's 13, Ethan, we just talked about, he's made a decision for college. Like a lot of people have problems with their teenagers. They get into the teenage years and teenagers. And I know what I was like as a teenager and what I put my parents through. And I think for me, looking at the way we're doing the teen years and the way my kids are responding to our parenting and to you guys as a community, I couldn't be more proud of my kids. And so I'm very much enjoying these days too. So those are my days.
Yeah.
I have like, usually for me it's more like instances or feelings, not like big chunks of those were the days. But I can call back to a few, like definitely being old enough to like be outside hanging with friends, but still young enough that you're not like too worried about like cliques and social, like, so I'm talking like elementary school age.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Like just hanging outside, playing like games and running around and riding bikes. And like, I think I've mentioned before, we had tons of kids in our neighborhood growing up. And so like that, it was just like this blissful time. It's super innocent, super peaceful, super just like, just being. Mm-hmm. So there's the simplicity of that. And then there's times like you feel like you're going through it with a group. So, I mean, gosh, nothing like the trade days, but like high school marching band. And you're just like, man, we're like sweating together and like out there, working on the field. Like we had a competition band for a few years before we were no longer a competition band. But anyway, like heading to competitions, like putting our heart into it, like just those things. So those,
I don't think people realize what people who are not in marching band don't realize what it is to be in marching band.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot more than people think.
Yeah.
Still to be mocked depending on the band, but still a huge accomplishment. So I get that. Like I think if somebody was never in a band or doesn't understand bands, they're listening to you going, okay, great.
Yeah.
But
okay,
like, no,
marching
2
band,
weeks straight in the end of summer before the school even starts,
Right.
Yep.
in a field with a bunch of other people being disorganized and screamed at by a really angry band director.
Yeah. And then of course you're all you're in this big group together. So you're thrust into this, like, you're just in a social situation because you're together. So you're riding buses, those fall nights, like to football games. And so there's a lot of like friendships and just
Shared experiences.
times. Yes.
Groot agrees, by the way.
Oh, nice. Was Groot in marching band?
I would assume so.
Nice. Groot, you have to tell us what you played or what you did with marching band. So yeah, but then I skipped forward. I mean, there's other times, like, man, college was formative.
Real quick, for those that don't know, we do stream live and people can chime in. So that's who we're talking to when we're talking about Groot. Because I can think about imagine listening to this and people are like, huh?
Yeah.
So
we are a predominantly YouTube based podcast. So if you're one of the people that listen afterwards, like 99% of you, sometimes we have comments live.
Yep.
So join us live. Anyways, sorry.
You can always tune in 8:45 Wednesdays.
Let's be honest. Back in the day when we were Facebook only, those comments were banging, baby. There
It's
was
true.
People. Got Josh Hughes coming in. Phyllis Feeney Johnston.
We have to figure out why that is, man. Because YouTube should be easier to find us than
the
Facebook.
YouTubes. Yeah.
Back in the old Facebooks.
8:45 Wednesdays.
And that's why we should have a meeting about that, but not here right now. So
No.
back to your
I agree
story.
with that. Eric, do you have any
Anyway,
days?
wait, I have to tell you my final one.
So many days.
No. Those were just like, these are snippets of things.
Oh, those were almost the days.
Yeah, almost the days. I'm
different
kind of
podcast.
excited because I feel like these are the days.
Ah, there it is.
And like I like really, and I've gushed to you guys before, like I've never had a friend group like this. I've never had like support in my life like this. Amy and I have never had like the strength in a relationship like we do now. So I'm like, it's cautiously confident in the way that like, man, this is it. This is
I
it.
agree. I agree.
Yeah. Mine's very similar.
How's that possible?
Well, to Chris, my mind went back to like elementary school where, you have that innocence. You don't really know what's going on. You don't have like responsibility. You don't know about politics. You don't know, you don't have a job that you have to.
Simplicity to life.
Simplicity. I mean, especially when Chris was talking about, like, we used to ride our bikes on Verona Hilltop. We just would ride and ride and ride. And then we'd go to and this was still at the time that this kind of thing existed in that area. There was a little corner store, and we'd stop and get a little snack.
Yeah, right across from St. Joe's.
No,
Okay.
it was down in the neighborhood. No, it was like in the neighborhood.
Over the hill a little bit?
Yeah.
All right.
Like it was
I know.
like back by William McKinley, but down the hill.
Never mind. Not even
It
what
was
I
this
talking
little
about.
mom and pop shop.
But I celebrated.
I know. It was really cool. And probably one of the last customers there for whenever that closed. And then like hopping off of our bikes, going to a friend's house, and then jumping on some Super Mario Brothers, inside, taking a break from the bikes, then going right back out. Like it was just, it was awesome. It was just great.
I love when you say things like, yeah, Super Mario Brothers. And I'm like, that didn't happen until I was like 23. Oh, that's right. You're younger
And
than
regular Mario Brothers. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was playing Pong. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding.
Yeah. And
Back in my day.
and like now, like, we've got so much good now that, our phrase has been like, I can't believe we get to do this. And that's very, very true. But yeah, I'm not going to hold us up any longer because I know we got a lot to get through. But yeah, those were the days.
And just because we're all on the edge of our seat, Groot played the trombone.
He was a tromboner.
Love
like
it.
Ben.
Just like Ben.
Chris's son Ben plays trombone.
Indeed. Well, we did
And
have
my
some
dad.
people. Still does.
Still does.
And performs
Community band
at
regular,
least
like I think like 5 times a year,
Yeah.
5-6 times a year.
Nice.
quintennially.
Sure.
Why not? Hey, Karen Carney said, several things come to mind, but one of the main things I think of is the days when people weren't always on a screen.
Yeah. What she says, I'm guilty of this too.
Meaning she's always on a
Hyphen.
screen. No. I added emotional needs that I think might be
I'm
there.
sorry.
She did not say, I'm guilty of this too, attention piece. She types weird. Oh, we tickled Eric's little fancy there. But yeah, I mean, that's a changing mark. I was listening to a competing podcast, the John Christ podcast,
Yeah.
Net Positive. And he said he just performed in Shipshewana, Indiana, which is like super Amish. Oh, yeah, it was Indiana.
Yeah.
And he said that he told him, he goes, look, I'm trying to be like y'all. You guys got it figured out. Like they just live, and that we're cooked by our phones and everything else. Like, although I would say with the phones and everything else and screens, the old line, the good old days weren't always good. And tomorrow ain't as bad as it seems. Like we still had problems.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, we look at everything through like the rose-colored glasses of,
Sure.
I'm with Karen's comment though, everybody's always on a screen. Like that speaks to the idea that then she's saying we're not face to face as much.
There's
we're not
interaction.
together interacting as much. So I'll be curious as we go
belonging.
through different like comments, because I know those were the days had a lot to do with like, oh man, I was with a group of people and we were doing such and such. And so clearly, if you're just stuck on your screen, you're not as much with that group. So I'll be curious if there's a consistency there.
Yeah. And I'd like you to keep on top of that. Jen Probola is one of the first people I ever coached in volleyball. We've talked about her before. She's commented before. She's the one, if you go, for those of you who are local, up Beulah Road to William Penn Highway, but then go down Braun Avenue.
Yeah.
I believe
Down at
is
Turtle
where I think she lives over there, but she super decorates for Halloween. Like she's been on KDKA. Like,
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
like
yeah.
it's
something.
it's big time. She says everyone liked each other. Those were the days, which were for her the 90s.
To that, I say good for her that everybody liked each other.
But it was her late teens, early 20s.
So she had that
Everybody got
feeling.
along. You had that momentum. I mean, those were
Right.
some crazy days for her. I remember I'll say it. I don't care. We were at Eaton Park, and probably one of those days, she probably came out of I think she was bartending at the White Hawk. And we were at Eaton Park, and I was introducing her to Rachel. So, yeah, it would be like late 90s. Oh, she says, anyhow, the 90s. Well, late 90s. And she's sitting there talking. She's bombed out of her brain and smoking a cigarette, ashing into her hand. Just talking to Rachel and me. It was great. Those were the days.
Those were the days.
Those were the days.
My mom, Sally Feeney, Herr, says, for me, it was when Brian and Christina were little. We had so many fun adventures. I got to relive those fun times with my grands.
There it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Getting those feels again for a second time with the grandkids. That's
What do you think about, your mom and how much it matters to her to be a mom? Mm-hmm. And how much it matters her to be a grandmom?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a major portion of her identity.
Gosh, absolutely.
That's something, and that's another part of those were the days, or the days that we're living now with Maggie. Because 5 and 6 have been really fun. We've had a lot of good times and a lot of fun memories, that we're building up that I think we'll be able to look back on.
So the days of 1, 2, 3.
I mean, they were great. But,
I know.
But also, there's just a lot of just surviving.
I know.
Yeah. It's one of those things, and we've talked about this many times. People will say, you're going to miss this. And I'm like, not really. I'm not going to really miss putting her in her car seat, taking out of her car seat while it's raining, while it's snowing. It's not
right.
Eh.
You'll have fun snippets of memories. She was so beautiful
or
as
you'll
a
laugh
baby.
at how miserable you were.
Right. Or remember
yeah.
But no.
Not to discount anybody that does miss those.
No,
If those were the
if-
days
if
for
that's
you,
for you,
absolutely.
that's
bless.
awesome, and I celebrate that. Because there were moments where I just remember when she would just be this little couch potato, and she would just sit on the couch, we'd just be hanging out, and then motion and walking and crawling started to come, and it was it's just a lot. It's just a lot.
It's like Sean McCartney said when he first got married. And I said, how is it? He goes, it's good. She never goes home.
That's so true.
I want to read the next one because she is in our book, my book, the Stand for Stand. She had an honor of her daughter faced and beat pediatric cancer.
Wow.
She said, I've had many, but the days of club, meaning young life in high school, always stand out. Laurelville, Summerfest,
Laurelville.
Florida trip, dances, and of course the faithful aspect of it. It was good, wholesome fun. Isn't that a great? Those were the days right there. It was good, wholesome fun, and we got to meet a lot of people outside of our school. Now, I didn't have an emotion. She did not add those exclamation points. What do you think that touches to? Is it peace? Security? Just the days when everything was positive.
Yeah. I mean, again, you're with people.
Belonging.
It's belonging.
Nostalgia always seems to me to be belonging and security. Like when I think about nostalgic people.
Yeah, because the time when I was talking about when I was much younger would be security. You're ignorant and you don't know what you don't know.
You're trying to get back to a place in your mind. It's like a liminal space in your mind where everything was good, and as an adult, things are abrasive. So I think there's a lot of security in finding the past. Those are the days in the past.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I like that phrasing that everything's abrasive. We just feel and
As an
judge
adult?
and more like that. Yeah.
Flo Miller wrote in.
One of the best huggers in the church.
Ah, yeah. Things were slower. Now everyone is in a hurry. Kids played and talked to each other outside. You knew your neighbors, had block parties. It was a friendly time. Now there's too much anger and no patience.
Yes, Brian, she goes to our church. She moved away to North Carolina, but Flo's 4'4" by about 3'4" by about 2'4" and just fits right into a hug.
Oh,
So
those are interesting. I've never heard of a person described with those dimensions.
well, I didn't want to make her
before.
completely round. I thought that would be rude.
Oh, okay.
things were slower, and we feel that way. And I guess that's what you're like, the point that Brian and Eric were saying a minute ago. Like, at a time in your life, things did feel slower. But also what you were saying, Jay, before is like, is that really true? Like, was it really easier a generation ago? Were people actually nicer to each other? I wonder. I really wonder.
That's part of why we're doing this.
Yeah, because like now she says, now there's too much anger and no patience. Which
Like the late 60s, man. Everybody got along.
right.
No division.
Cities were not burning to the ground.
No.
Mostly-
There was respect amongst
it was
political
mostly peaceful.
parties and racial relationships were perfect back then.
Mostly peaceful.
Well, and I was listening to another competitive podcast, Nate Land,
Oh, yeah.
and Dustin Dickerson and Dusty Slay. They were talking about, being bored when you're a kid.
That's 2 heavy swallows into the microphone tonight, Chris. Go ahead.
Sorry, I'm thirsty.
They were just talking about being bored as a kid, and you had to find something to do. And
That ain't happening anymore.
it's not happening anymore. And I don't want to go like too deep into this, but 30 years from now, 40 years from now,
What's the result of this lack of creativity?
yeah, and just like having everything instantly, like when you were a kid, you had to wait for a Christmas movie to come on
To watch the Christmas movie.
the Christmas movie.
And in my day,
yeah,
if you didn't get it, you missed it.
you missed it.
You guys had,
we had VHS release, and we would do
VHS.
that. We would tape stuff, but like now, and then you had tapes and DVDs, and like you could watch it anytime then. But now you can just pull it up, but you don't
Bing, bang,
have to
boom.
go anywhere to get it. You can just pull
Beep,
it up,
boop, beep,
beep,
boop.
boop, beep, boop, and and that does go to a lot of like the screen time. And I don't want to be that guy, like kids on your phones, but like
But you wonder about the long-term effects.
I do wonder about the long
don't
term
even wonder.
effects. Yeah, I mean, there's really no at this
catastrophic.
point. Yeah, there's because like if you like first it was TV, and then then we've just progressed onto internet. On
I was going to go blind, according to my grandfather, because I sat too close to the TV. He
Yeah.
fired me all the time. Too close to the TV, you're fired. And then Trump stole it. But that's why I'm so grateful for Joe and for Ben and their friends, the boys, who get together. And I mean, yeah, they'll play video games every once in a while, but I mean, they're 21 years old and they'll be doing like math problems, and creating these weird scenarios that there still is the spark of creativity and inspiration.
And I heard
less so.
Yeah, and I heard that on that podcast. I was like, I'm gonna have to let Maggie be bored a little bit more.
Right.
Because we're always looking for something to do.
Right.
Because like she's an only child.
And we used to
and,
have to just come up with something.
Yeah, figure it out. Draw something.
Yeah.
Make a game out of something. That kind of thing.
J.D. Lane is somebody I graduated with, and he just said the Seneca 7 days, which was our class was the last class at Seneca Junior High, and it was only seventh grade. And I think we were the only class to only be seventh grade, because it used to be 7th and 8th and whatever. So a little bit of belonging.
Interesting.
I
Wait,
can't
so
imagine.
you were the only class in that school that year?
Correct.
Interesting. All right. Maurice Schwartz says, for me, I think about the times before I got married, even the time when I was just a kid. I don't have to worry about life, or excuse me, I didn't have to worry about life. Things happened that were fun, family and friends oriented, adventurous and carefree, except maybe trying not to look like a dork.
That is a stressor. That's sort of what we're talking about. I mean, the word you said, Brian, nostalgia, it's such a powerful word. How accurate is nostalgia, though?
I think it's very subjective and probably not very accurate.
Yeah,
But it's great because
exactly. But it's great.
because you can have that picture in your mind, and you don't. There's no way to prove that picture in your mind isn't real. It's as real as anything else to you.
It's funny, having talked with people through years of youth ministry and now as a pastor and a parent, when people break up from a relationship that was due to break up, I always warn them that you're only going to look back and you're going to miss the good days. I said, you're going to forget the bad days. I said, and that's good long term. But as an enticement to go back to, don't do that.
Right.
It's a beautiful thing when we're able to, we have an experience and there were good things that happened, but yet, of course, yeah. Oh, remember that time I stubbed my toe? Or, oh, we were at marching band, we had to practice out in the rain and it was freezing. Or we were, that argument that so-and-so had. And there are all these other things, but when you look at the whole picture, it just glows with all those the good times. Like, I just think it's such a cool ability of our brains, I guess, or just our, just to look back and be like, the overall picture, it's rosy, you know?
Jenna, that's Rachel's good friend, my good friend. Having fun always with a solid, unconditionally loving group of friends. No responsibilities, bills. We are seeing quite a pattern develop. Or worries, other than what excitement the Westview posse had in store for tomorrow. Being young.
Without worry of aging parents.
There it is.
Or stress from jobs or income.
Just pure silliness and fun. I mean, that is Rachel's friend group. God bless them. Those North Hills ruffians were the Westview posse. And it's as dorky.
They were to be feared.
And actually, to a degree, they were.
Feared.
That's the sad part of North Hills High School. They were respected.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that. They were respected. But what's cool about that is, and it's specifically to that friend group, that it's as strong today. It's stronger today than it was then. And it's arguably more mature. It's give or take, but it's depending on the weekend.
Yep.
But no, and that is a testimony to what life can look like because they were high school best friends, ride or die, and they still are to this day. And now they've added husbands to the group, of which I'm one of them.
They really are their own real life sitcom.
In a lot of ways.
Yeah, it's remarkable to be like on the outside watching them. I mean, not that I see a lot of them, but when
hear
they,
my stories,
when like graduation parties or whatever, and we do get together, it is very interesting to watch.
And what's crazy for Rachel is like she's blessed with your wives, you know, and her new friends since 1999, and then the friends from high school, and they're all great people, different people, great people.
Right. Michelle Irwin says, not as many things to worry about then like now. Yep, part of the pattern.
Just keeping track of this theme, Chris?
Oh, yeah.
Just gave her a hug this afternoon.
Anthony DeMarco. Turtle said, before money was a motivating factor in most aspects of life, basically before having to become an adult.
So people don't want to be adults, is what we're saying.
Or it's just harder, and there's a lot more pressure, and there's a lot more things that you're responsible for, you know, like having a job and being able to pay the bills and pay the mortgage, you know, all that kind of stuff.
I do. I think
It's a privilege.
Security just seems to be the overriding. And it's funny, it's because you're kind of disagreeing.
I am disagreeing.
And guess what? One of your lowest emotional needs is
Security.
There we go.
Yeah.
Well, here, Heather Houlihan takes it a
Ever heard of
slightly
her?
different route, although agreeing maybe with your mom, Brian. When my kids were all little, man, it was hard. I realize now that physically hard beats emotionally hard any day. We had some great adventures. Our holidays were amazing. Those littles brought me so much love. I can't wait until their littles bring it back to us. I'm grateful that I get to share in that with my siblings' babies. So that, you know, she's speaking of hard times and like slothing through. I mean, obviously she's saying we had a lot of amazing holidays and things, but she clearly says, man, it was emotionally hard.
Well, no. I think what she's saying is the days when the kids were little were physically hard.
Oh, physically hard. Okay.
But now as kids get older, it becomes emotionally
Yeah.
hard. And so, one could argue she's saying neither one of the days, and or they're both the days.
Yeah.
I will say this, and then Brian, I want to hear that. When I think of how she's sort of giving that nostalgia of the little, you know, a backup, those were the days for me were like Christmas Day growing up. The innocence, the beauty, the awe,
5
the
kids in
wonder.
your house and cousins.
Literally, I mean, just Christmas morning is what I'm
you
talking
guys,
about.
yeah.
The 5 of us, mom and dad, everything's good. They're still together, presents everywhere. And they go, yeah, but then you get to live through your kids. And what's funny is the me blessing my kids with a Christmas like the one I had. And we did the best we could. My kids probably will say, oh, those were the days. No, it was much better being the kid. Like I enjoyed giving and watching them and everything else, but like that magic,
Yeah.
that moment. Watching it through your kids' eyes, you're like, that's pretty sweet. I gotta go make breakfast.
Yeah.
And they didn't like that gift and this, that, and they're fighting and whatever else. So you were saying,
I like this idea, this particular angle of what we're talking about. You think of like large Italian families that get together every Sunday. And like instantly, I went to Christmas over at my grandparents' house, where my dad has 4 brothers and sisters, and it was madness. I love the idea of those days being filled with this controlled family get together chaos.
I was just going to say the controlled chaos.
Yes, there's something amazing about the controlled chaos.
Yeah, especially amongst uncles.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying like between your dad and his brothers,
Yeah.
I'm sure there was many a story from those days.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, like I said, I thought my Uncle Johnny was GD Johnny. I thought that was his name because it was always Papa Mitlow arguing with him, labor versus
GD
management.
Johnny.
God damn it, Johnny! And I was like, is that his name? And they're like, you can't say that word. Hey, the next one, Leon Zebak. He says the happy memories that fill us with warmth, laughter, and a longing to return to those moments. And Leon's one, I just did the funeral for his wife a couple weeks ago, and she had a sudden onset of cancer, and he is a sweetheart of sweethearts. And so he was the first one, by the way, to comment, which, boy, does our heart go out to you, Leon.
It's a fantastic name you got there too. And the
Leon.
spelling.
Zebak, good Irish guy. But yeah, it's true though, and you talk about somebody who has immediate nostalgia. You know what I mean? Like he's gone through about a year battle with his wife's illness, and now he's just recently, he's like, yeah, man, the happy memories.
Yeah.
And the bad ones shouldn't be so loud, maybe.
Yeah.
I met with somebody this week, and I said to them, my perception of what you experienced, I said, is not the same. I'm not robbing you of your perception. I said, but I want you to know I didn't see it that way. And then they were complaining about somebody, and I said, no, and this person understands emotional responding. So I said, this is going to sound critical. I said, but why do you care what they say? Because they were really upset at what somebody had said. And I was just like, we all dismiss what they say. Why is this impacting you? Help me to understand, why. But back to Leon's point, man, the goodness should outshine the negative.
John Rampala said, I can truthfully say that these days are some of the happiest that I've ever been. Happily married. Our son is healthy, happy. Recently graduated from college and employed at his dream job, at his dream firm, and my wife's retirement is within reach. Bills are paid. We are wanting or needing anything that we don't have or can't get. My wife and I are healthy and still have a good time. Life is really good right now.
John speaking truth.
That's what I'm talking about right there. I love that one.
John's your boy. Hey, let's bring it home with our favorite, with our guy that sits with us at the table all the time, always puts things into words. My best friend from high school, Dan Leopold. Who wants to bring it home with Dan? Chris, you want that?
I would love to read Dan's response. He starts, I love this. I love it. June 27th, 1976.
A specific,
Bicentennial.
very specific day.
That was the day.
It started a bit cool as the sun rose to the sound of crickets and birds. I can remember the light streaming into my open window. The day grew warm and sunny. All that was on my agenda was play, fun, and adventure. I hung out with Randy and Mark, rode my bike, climbed 2 trees and...
2 trees, not just one.
2 trees. And dug in the Indian burial ground, quote unquote, at the end of Janus Drive. I rode my bike there. The breeze felt great as I sailed down the street. It kind of sucked pushing the bike up the hill. I still have one of the quote unquote Indian artifacts I found that day. Just a rock, but I have it in my display case now. Mrs. Lynch gave me a ham sandwich, which I ate while playing pickup sticks in her garage. She also let me look at her encyclopedia. I remember a cat, but it wouldn't let me pet it. I came back to the house after dark, and the door fan blowing out. I talked into it and sounded like an alien. I vaguely remember hearing Hawaii Five-0 on TV. Fell asleep exhausted. It was a great day. Those were the days they were.
Yep. That's great.
Gosh.
Just put an illustration to it all.
I
That's just
really
great.
want to know if he honestly remembers all those things from that one day. That's beautiful.
Or say like many days
Right.
combined.
It's
into
like
one.
a
That's a
conglomer-
packed day. I mean, he ends it like that was the day that he remembered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can feel the white bread bunching up in his teeth from that ham sandwich. Working it out with his fingers and his tongue.
When he talks about remembering hearing 5-0 Hawaii 5-0, it took me to like sometimes my parents would let me start out in their bed. You know what I mean? Like they'd be downstairs and I'd start off in the big bed. You know?
Yeah.
And they're watching TV and stuff, and I'm trying to fall asleep, and I hear like Night Court theme, floating up, or Cheers,
Man, Night Court was so good.
How many of those for the days involve like your parents' bed? Like if I know for Joe and Bella, we used to call it Sleep In Saturday. And it's when Joe was 4 and Bella was 2 because Trey wasn't born yet. And we were just like, we can't keep doing this, get up early every day. And so on Saturdays, they would get into bed with us and we would just turn the TV on and let the cartoons roll. So she and I could take turns falling back asleep in our bed. And the kids were like, we get to watch all this TV. And we're like, yep, you watch all, And then Rachel would eventually feel guilty and she would make me get up.
Make you get up.
Oh, yeah. But no, I think Dan put it best, man. I mean, you were with him on that day.
That really illustrates
blowing
it
into
all.
the fans.
Oh, I used to do that all the time.
So great.
Yeah.
Sticking your finger into the fan, like, ah, that still hurts. Daring somebody to stick their tongue in it. Those are the
That's
days.
true. That's true.
We could do that. All the different stupid things you did as a kid.
Oh gosh, yes.
Those were the days.
Oh, that would be a good one to do. Yeah.
I
Somebody
once
write
went
that
off a
down.
jump at Forbes School. It wasn't a jump, it was just a trail that had a ramp. And the bike went out in front of me a little bit. And so I landed not on the seat, but I guess the bike went backwards. So I landed, of course, crotch on the crossbar and then face off the crossbar or the, whatever.
Yeah, the handlebar.
And knocked the wind out of me. So I'm laying there with a shot to the midsection, a bloody nose, and I'm laying there. Oh, and the wind knocked out of me. I was by myself because that was my nostalgia.
Yeah.
I haven't made it,
And now you carry it over to the disc golf course, using chainsaws.
so they don't get hurt as much.
Yeah, I'm
much.
so glad.
Well, there are definitely I found two.
Yeah, Mister. Where's our pattern?
Yeah, two overarching themes. The one is for sure the idea of being with people and feeling
Belonging.
Yeah, just feeling like a togetherness with your group. And then the other one seemed to be peace.
Security.
Yeah, like just a peaceful time. However you found, with security and with it could also be the belonging. But and then I mean there obviously were some different ones about like with adventures with your kids and stuff too. But then again, you're still together with your kids and you're feeling.
No, I think that's a good
belonging
focus
as a family.
for all of us here at the table, literal and figuratively. Well, that's something people miss. So therefore, it's an easy way to love them is to give them those two things. That's true of all emotional needs, but clearly there seems to be a deficit of peace, security, and belonging. So I think we should focus on that.
Yeah.
Love it. That's it for episode 265. Thanks for joining us. And join us live next Wednesday at 8:45 on YouTube for episode 266. Between now and then, please give us a like or follow on social media and visit us at lunchtimeinrome.com. While there, take our relational needs questionnaire. Thanks for joining us at the table for Lunchtime in Rome.
See you next week.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye.